fonts and all that stuff.
And a lot of these sort of things that you're looking at are really sort of either book publishing or things that people consider classic print.
Yeah.
Like you're describing a number of the qualities of what's been going on in print, but now you're saying you can bring it to the web.
Yeah, well, here's the other thing. That, I mean, I've actually had somebody be critical of me for, your stuff just looks like print. You know?
Oh, as a criticism.
Yeah, as a criticism. I don't know what I've done with my chair here, but it suddenly sank down. Like miniature. That's probably not bad for showing this stuff off. So yeah, I had somebody actually critical of it. Now what they don't realise is that print and the way that things are done in print is not just a convention.
It's how the eye works, right?
It's how the eye works, and it's how we evolved the display of text and information over a period of 550 years since Gutenberg mechanised printing. We've had 550 years of Darwinian evolution to try things that worked and things that didn't work, and what worked survived, and that's what we see in print today. That's why if you open a book, the text is always about the same size, right, and the columns are always about the same width, and because it's all nobody consciously thought that way and designed it back 500, 300, 200 years ago. But it naturally gravitated to what felt right, and what felt right was what worked right with the human visual system. And that hasn't changed. You know, the human visual system has developed over about 6 million years in humans, but then developed probably for tens of millions of years before that in our primate ancestors, right? Do people assume that it's going to change over the course of a couple of decades?
Right.
It won't
because of a computer.
Just
right?
because of a computer, yeah.
And I mean, it's not that you always stare onto the screen. You like move around and do you still do outside. You live outside, right? It's not.
The human being is just the same as they've always been. Yeah. How arrogant is it to assume that just because this new thing is here, that humans have changed? They haven't. The ideal way to make it work is to realise that it's this that needs to adapt to this in the same way that print did,
right,
and not this that has to adapt to this. That's the answer. Humans are not going to change. We may evolve. Homo sapiens version 2.0 may come along, but it'll probably be a couple of 100,000 years, I would think, at least before that kind of level of evolution.
Well, and you still, if you like having screens, right? You have still like the normal world outside, like that would need to change too.
Of course,
because otherwise this is just one small tiny part, right?
Our system developed to allow us to survive and thrive in the world. This is just another part of the world.
Yeah.
It's not somewhere special. Cyberspace is not somewhere special. It's just another part of the world, and it's just a surface.
Yeah, I think the other interesting aspect too is a number of people in print have a specific way that they want theirs to appear. Like it's like telling an artist to use low resolution or something.
Corporate identity, for example, is classic. I mean, the corporate identity of Microsoft is defined by the typefaces that we use on our websites and on our print material and so on. Apple's corporate identity is defined that way. You know, Coca-Cola's corporate identity is defined a certain way, and so on. And it's all by the use of fonts and logos and graphics and so on. But it's all the same. And it hasn't changed. I mean, why do you think that is? Our perception system developed because as humans we need to make decisions all the time. Is this a threat or is it lunch? Where can I find something to eat? So we developed visual pattern recognition as our primary survival skill. And then when you were a child, your parents and the elders in your tribe taught you the database of patterns that you could eat, the database of patterns that would kill you. You know, eat this leaf, it's good. Eat this one, it'll kill you. Eat these berries, but don't eat these berries. It's all about visual pattern recognition. It's no surprise that McDonald's, for example, is so protective of the two golden arches.
The golden arches, yeah.
Because it's the same as
good, right?
Food good. Food good, fire bad.
Yeah, it's probably also
here food. That's what it's saying to the primitive human in us.
And the Pavlovian response, right, too. So like you literally start salivating when you see those arches because it is that pattern means food.
You might. I'm a vegetarian. I've been a vegetarian for about 35 years.
What about
French fries? Come on.
Yeah.
Vegetable oil.
Yeah.
Yeah, but still, like, if you see some, like, there's still, like, chains and stuff for vegetarians, so they have their own, or, like, you know, it's always, or Coke.
Well, let's not get sidetracked on McDonald's and food.
Sorry.
So that's why this stuff is so important, that we have that on the web. So here's my kind of standard blog on Blogger, and here's one of my peeves: that authoring web standards pages today is like set and type in the days of Gutenberg. You know, when you had to hand set each letter, because if I want to do web standards pages, I have to do them in Notepad. So this is Blogger. Now this is Live Spaces, which is a little bit better. I have more of a 2-column layout in here than I had. You know, I can use my photographs and so on. But once I get down beyond a certain level, I'm back in the world of this is the only bit of text I have on the screen. All of this area is wasted.
It's the river of white, right?
Yeah.
I call it always that way, or the that.
It's completely wasted space. Yeah. I paid for that piece of display.
It's priceless paid, right?
Why aren't you using it? You know. So that's what blogs look like. Okay, so now here's what I think a blog could look like. This is my secret blogazine project that I was working on for ages. I'm working on for a while, but I did it on my website. It's actually live up there, but nobody's ever been there because I've never publicized the URL.
Okay. Are you publicizing it now? Because you kind of are.
Yeah. You can go.
Just so you know.
You can go now. So the URL is www.billhillsite.com/cover.htm.
Okay, we'll put the link in there just for.
That's the link to the secret blogazine. If you just do billhill.com, you'll come to a front page that doesn't have links to this yet. I'll put them on now. I'll go visit it and I'll put on some links to these pages because there's a couple of sets of pages. But here's this is what a blog should look like.
I'll tell you something. Like, if I see this blog, I don't need this zoom feature down there.
No,
I wouldn't like it even. Like,
the type is 12 point. Not only that.
Well, I do think the zoom feature is, like, I look at the example of the New York Times WPF Reader, where sometimes it is really nice to be able to zoom in and zoom out, or in particular, if you have very high DPI.
You want to do it in a certain way, though.
Where you don't lose.
Yeah, this is not perfect yet. This is still very much a work in progress. There are things that I want to see happen. This is the first of these pages, and actually the pages get better as I move through and get more familiar with how they're done. But here's my navigation, for example. It's paginated. There's no scrolling at all. If I want to go to page 2, I click on the link and I go to page 2. Now, you'll notice that the typeface is very readable. This is Cambria, one of the faces that we shipped in Office 2007 and in Vista. This is Calibri, which is another of the faces. These faces were designed and optimized for ClearType, by the way. This one is Candara. So Candara, Cambria, Calibri. All the names started.
Right?
I beg your pardon?
Everything is embedded, right?
Using the same embedded that you were talking about before.
All of these fonts are embedded in my site, so if you're running on Internet Explorer Beta 2, or running on Internet Explorer, the font objects will come across with the pages and you'll be able to see them. Hopefully, when the Firefox and Safari guys get round to it, you'll be able to see the same thing there as well. If you have these fonts on your system and you're running another browser, they will show up, but you won't get the font embedding. So this is my blog, and I think it's much more readable than a normal blog. And I'd like people to come visit it and try it and realise, though, there is a work in progress. I'm not where I want to be yet.
Sure.
This
gives the concept.
Yeah, this blog was designed to be read on a 1440 by 900 display or better. If it's a smaller display than that, then it might not be as good. It'll scale and you might get some space. I'm getting there.
Okay.
Rome was not built in a day. In fact, what I'm doing on these projects is I'm kind of opening the kimono very early, right? I'm letting people watch as I learn. In fact, I say that back here. You know, this is my